Welcome. This is a brief introduction to what you need to know to complete your thesis or capstone project in the Corporate Communication Master's Program at Baruch College. Today I will share the following information in this session. First, defining the thesis versus the capstone project, tips for early project development, different paths to completion, advisor and reader roles, as well as the enrollment process and final presentation. So let's get started. First, in addition to coursework, all students must complete and present an individual final project to complete their master's degree in corporate communication. This requirement is a self-directed final project guided by an individual advisor and reader. It can take two different forms, a thesis or a capstone. Before distinguishing between these two types of projects, let me share why this final project is an important and I think exciting part of your graduate process. This project gives you the opportunity to customize your program by developing a particular area of expertise. For example, you may be passionate about how corporations are using internal communication to build mentally healthy workplace cultures. So you design a project around this issue. Or you may be motivated to learn more about how nonprofits are using digital storytelling techniques to gain support for their causes. And so you might design a project around this issue. In short, this project allows you to become an expert. In completing your thesis or capstone, you have the chance to contribute new research findings to the field, to challenge and develop industry best practices, and even to develop a project to submit with doctoral applications if you're interested in continuing your education to the doctoral level. Keep in mind, you want to plan ahead for 2 semesters to complete this project. And you'll enroll in thesis and capstone credits the final semester of your project, as well as either an independent study or what we call the Capstone Thesis Bootcamp course 2 semesters before you plan to graduate. As I said, there are 2 project options, a thesis or a capstone. Both options are equally rigorous in terms of time and effort. Both projects require extensive knowledge of theory, relevant research, and best practices. The type of project you do simply depends on the kind of deliverable you want to produce as your final project. So first, the goal of the thesis is the generation of new knowledge. You get the opportunity to conduct original research, primary or secondary, to contribute knowledge to the field of corporate communication. It usually takes the form of a traditional research paper. So for example, for a thesis project, you might pose the question, how do internal communication professionals talk about their job, how their job has changed due to the COVID-19 pandemic? To answer this question, a thesis project might allow you to interview internal communication professionals and write up the results of this study in a traditional research paper format. Next, a capstone, the goal of it is to apply your knowledge, to become an expert, subject matter expert in a theoretically driven research topic, and apply what you've learned to create some type of deliverable. It might be a training program, a communication campaign, corporate media strategy, or materials. There are lots of different options. So for example, a capstone project might explore effective ways for framing messages around corporate social responsibility in a particular industry. For this project, you might review relevant theories, academic and industry research, become an expert on the topic, and then apply that knowledge to create perhaps a training program for new CSR communication professionals. These are 2 simple examples. There are so many different directions you might take for both the thesis and the capstone, and you'll talk at length with your advisor to determine what's the best path for you. Let me share with you just 5 quick tips on early project development. First of all, play with ideas early in the program and be sure to keep a list of your ideas for thesis or capstone projects in a journal, in a file, or just even on your phone. And second, explore ideas in every class, with every project you do. Talk with your professors and colleagues. The methods classes can also inspire you. You can also review past projects if you go to the Corporate Communication MA area of the Baruch College website. You can see a number of different examples to help you get ideas for your own project. Monitor your work experiences and watch the media. Follow cases or tackle a current issue. And then finally, assess your post-graduation goals and consider how this project can help you achieve them. When you graduate, are you hoping to gain a promotion in your current workplace? Are you someone who's completely changing careers? Or are you interested in doctoral applications? Consider how this thesis or capstone project can help you achieve those goals. Keep in mind, everyone's program and interests evolve differently in graduate school. Some students enter the program with very specific goals and interests. Others want to slowly progress and explore. So we have two different paths that will get you to the same goal, which is completing your master's degree. First, you might take the independent study path. You'll do so if you've secured an advisor early on in your program. Perhaps, for example, you complete a paper in a crisis communication class or a project for a media analysis class, and you want to continue to explore this issue in your thesis or capstone. And you also know which professor you think can best guide you. You simply ask that faculty member if he or she is available and willing to advise your thesis or capstone project. Keep in mind there's also a list of possible advisors on the Corporate Communication MA area of the Baruch College website. Then you'll work with that advisor on how best to proceed. Most likely, you'll enroll in an independent study with that advisor. The goal of the independent study is to do all of the project development work that needs to be done to complete your thesis the following semester. This will help you to become an expert in the area you want to explore further in your thesis or capstone project. And it's a great experience of working one-on-one with a faculty member. On occasion, your advisor might still recommend that you take the thesis or capstone bootcamp class, but you'll work with your advisor to figure out the best way to proceed. The second path for you is the bootcamp path. Ideally, you've taken both the methods classes, which are COM 9635 and 9640, before you would take the bootcamp course. You want to be far enough into your program that you're ready to start planning your thesis or capstone project. This means, again, you need to plan ahead. You do not need an advisor before you take the bootcamp class. This is an asynchronous class that walks you through the thesis or capstone planning process in a very structured way with weekly assignments and mentoring. You leave the course with the work done to complete your project the following semester. So you will pitch your idea to various advisors at the end of the bootcamp class, and you'll finalize who you'll work with. Keep in mind that you take either an independent study with your advisor or the thesis or capstone bootcamp class. One or the other, but not both. Your advisor's job is to guide you in the development and completion of your project. Once you have an advisor, talk with that person to help you identify your reader. Readers review your final draft and provide feedback. They may assist you by providing additional guidance along the way, so keep them up to date on your progress. Both advisors and readers' signatures are required to enroll in thesis or capstone credits. And just keep in mind that writing matters. This is graduate school. Your advisor will provide significant feedback on the structuring of your final project, but should not be expected to be a copy editor. So make sure that you're continuing to hone your written communication skills throughout your graduate program. A few words about enrollment. You can enroll in the bootcamp course or the independent study during fall or spring semesters, but not during the summer. If you take an independent study with your advisor, you simply email the Wiseman Graduate Office for the independent study form. You'll complete that form and get the required signatures, and then you'll return it to the graduate office by email. They will then set up a section in CUNY First. It may take a few weeks after the form is submitted, but once that section's set up, you can just go into CUNY First and enroll in your independent study with your advisor. If you're taking the thesis or boot camp class, you can just go ahead and register for the thesis or capstone boot camp during regular registration. Again, keep in mind you want to have completed both 9635 and ideally 9640 before enrolling. Most students have between 18 to 20 credits completed before they take the thesis or capstone boot camp. And it's also recommended, just for time management, that you only take one other class the semester you do the boot camp, unless of course you're a full-time student who's also not working. Then, just keep in mind, you'll also complete one additional form to enroll in your thesis or capstone credits as well. Before we conclude, let me just mention one issue on conducting research at Baruch College. As you'll learn about in your Introduction to Research Methods class, there are federal regulations that affect certain types of research conducted at colleges and universities in the U.S. You'll learn more about the Human Research Protection Program and the Institutional Review Board. Not all final projects will require what's called human subjects approval before conducting the research, yet some projects will require this step and you need to build in time. Talk with your advisor about the necessity to go through the human subjects process, and be sure to listen carefully in the Introduction to Research Methods class to learn more about the requirements. If you need to go through the process, complete it with an advisor prior to the semester you enroll in thesis credits or within the first few weeks of that semester. To complete this process, you'll have to learn about IRB Manager, which is the platform that we use at Baruch College to submit for approval. And then finally, you'll present your work. Presenting your work in a colloquium is the final graduation requirement. At the end of each semester, including the summer semester, a colloquium is scheduled and everyone's invited. With the approval of your advisor and your reader, you'll register to present, and you'll provide a brief 10 to 12 minute presentation about your thesis or capstone project, and then entertain Q&A at the end. Family is invited, colleagues are invited, faculty are invited. Everyone wants to join you to support you and to celebrate. So it's both a presentation and a celebration. For more information about the thesis or capstone process, you're welcome to reach out to Professor Karen Medved, the program director, at the email that's listed. For forms and enrollment questions or other issues, you're also welcome to contact the Wiseman Graduate Studies Office at the Wiseman Graduate Advisement email listed. And then keep in mind, every semester there is an online thesis or capstone information session that's held generally at the beginning of each semester. So just watch your email for dates of those information sessions and join us. So thank you for joining me. We're here to support you every step of the way, and we look forward to working with you to complete your thesis or capstone project. Thank you.